All right, hey people, uh, welcome back to my stream, and I think it's more than 10 minutes. I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. I almost got like very sleepy from lying on my bed for a while, just scrolling, doom scrolling for a while. Anyway, yeah, let's start the true ending. Blue sky. Let's go. Chapter 10. Blue sky.
西条七海が祈る。兄と共に収容された病院。怪我人があふれた待合室の片隅にうずくまり、実の兄のしわくちゃの手を握りしめて、右手の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。もう一人の兄の無事を。楠木優愛が祈る。倒壊したビルの瓦礫。そこに埋もれるように横たわるコンテナの中で、彼の美少女フィギュアの一つを握りしめて、地震と火事で醜く変形してしまったフィギュアたちの姿に感じた胸の痛みに耐え、目を閉じて祈る。彼女を許してくれた少年の無事を。岸本綾瀬が祈る。避難所となっている水明学園。その校舎の屋上で空を見上げて、神話が書かれた文庫本を握りしめて、崩壊した渋谷を覆う不特定多数の妄想が見せる悪意の痛みに耐え、目を閉じて祈る。彼女の歌を、彼女の話を聞いてくれた少年の無事を。折原梢が祈る。新鮮駅の薄暗いホーム。青井瀬名の震える手を握りしめて、足の傷の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。心の声で語り合ったクラスメートの少年の無事を。青井瀬名が祈る。横たわる父の傍らに座り、父の冷たくなった手を握りしめて、最後まで素直になれなかった後悔の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。彼女のお願いに不器用ながら答えようとしてくれた少年の無事を。咲畑りみが祈る。冷たい床に横たわりながら、彼へ伸ばした自らの手をきつく握りしめて、傷だらけの彼の姿を見て感じた。締め付けられるような胸の痛みに耐えて、目を閉じて祈る。自分が守ろうとした、自分を助けに来てくれた少年の無事を。
僕は何もできなかった。君が行動したんだ。その結果としてみんなが君のことを見てきた。君という周囲共通認識はとっくに出来上がっているんだ。これからは、いや、もうすでに君こそが。
僕は、君は誰？君は僕。 僕は君。僕なんていない。君なんていない。僕は僕じゃない。
I like that smirk.
あなたはお兄。あなたは理事長君。
Oh, this is the true. Yeah, this is what I was talking about a while ago.
君は匠。あなたは匠さん。お前は西条。あなたはタク。
Oh man, this is so cool. I really love the scene, man.
僕は僕。僕は妄想の存在。僕は存在する。僕は西条匠。僕はその声が聞こえた瞬間に意識が僕を固定した。ぐちゃぐちゃにかき回されていた世界は一気に収束する。この国は僕の理想像を形作って収束する。僕としての形に戻る。世界は世界としての形に戻る。僕だ。
I can see clearly now. All my wounds healed. My top and bottom halves are connected. I'm standing on my own 2 feet. The pain is entirely gone. Serenity fills my heart.
妄想によく打ち勝ったね。僕の最後の力を君に託すよ。
I noticed Remy at the edge of my vision. She's okay. She's looking at me. Tears are falling down her face. Don't cry. Yo, it's the gate of Babylon. Directly behind me, space begins to warp. Prayers are brought into creation, the 6 gospels, or perhaps the impulses of 6 spirits. All too pure, all too graceful, and all too dignified. All too sharp, all too ferocious, all too destructive. And all too awash with an ill-omened beauty. I accept every piece of them. The 6-blade writ above. Ristily, and perhaps rapturously, they raise their shrieks. and fused with my Disordo. Summoning my strength, I grasp the Disordo's hilt. I ascertain its feeling. My arms work better than ever. I've completely regenerated. I focus my eyes on Norase.
確かに僕は化け物だ。でもこれが
So I can rescue Remy. So I can destroy Noah too.
僕が望んだ妄想だ。
Norris's response is swift. He has yet to harvest the code sample of Nishido Takumi. The delusion was supposed to corner the boy and shatter his psyche, but now the tables have turned, and that he cannot allow. Norris closes the gap between himself and Takumi. Taking a specific angle, he swings the Disordo from below. With a Disordo that can cleave any known object, he diagonally carves through Takumi's chest. The target's durability made no difference. Killing a person with it is as simple as slicing through a block of gelatin. With one quick swipe from Norase, Takumi's body split into pieces. His head, right arm, right shoulder, all slide cleanly off his body. Internal organs litter the floor, but not a single drop of blood falls within. The lower half of Takumi's body begins to give way. He braces himself and manages to plant his feet. In the following moment, the cross-section of his wound begins to undulate and squirm. A bubbling noise ensues. And in the following moment, the cross-section of his wound begins to undulate and squirm. And then he regenerates. Unarmed, unaffected, even though his body was cleaved apart a mere second ago. Already a new head, right arm, and shoulder were born. His old head and internal organs remain where they slid from him.
嗅覚は遮断した。
With a single step, Takumi approaches Norase. Norase clicks his tongue. Then he turns over his Disordo.
あんたの見せてくれた妄想のおかげだよ。
He is unable to retain his shape as a human being. He took in the delusion and made it his own. This is not regeneration, but replacement. Missing parts replenish. Flesh and bone are reproduced once again, all propagating infinity from the dust within his body. His shape is not fixed. Like an amoeba, like a collection of slime, he can change himself freely. That is the reason Takumi calls himself a monster. Takumi takes yet another step toward Norase. Norase's frustration increases. Grabbing the hilt, he thrusts his Disordo at the approaching Takumi. Takumi's head finds itself between the colossal pair of scissors. Takumi's head is crushed. It slits like a watermelon. Blood and gray matter burst forth. Everything above the neck is gone, and yet Takumi's body remains. Regeneration. Replacement is instantaneous. As soon as his heel hit the ground, as if nothing happened. As if he was entirely replaced. His head returns right to where it was, without a single scratch. Norase awakens to an understanding. He cannot win this fight. Physical attacks with his Disordo are useless. Delusional attacks denying the boy's existence for existence was taken in and used for an alternative purpose. The current Nishido Takumi is all too far removed from human normalcy, all too distorted in existence, all too flirting as a monster. And yet, despite it all, Norase had no intention of conceding. His next thought is to utilize Noah 2's power to bombard Takumi with innumerable antiparticles. Bombardment with antiparticles can transform any existence into negative matter, ending ultimately in self-collapse. If destruction from the surface is not viable, then collapse must be undertaken from within.
そうなんだね。
Norase's thoughts were read by Takumi. The shine of Takumi's Disordo transforms from red to black. A black flame envelopes the blade. It wriggles forward, extending outward. Its shape resembles that of a dark colossal serpent.
そして現れるの。
It roams through the dome as if constrained by it. Toward the ceiling, toward the floor, as though it was licking them up, as though it is scraping them away. It simply consumes.
写真の黒き大樹。あらゆる崩壊を飲み込み、邪神の身を砕くことのできる。同質にして異質なる。
The body of the colossal serpent is composed of antiparticles. With a mere touch, it can send any known objects into self-collapse. The torrent of destruction composed of near infinite greed.
触手芸はあんまり好みじゃないけど。
Then, there and then, Takumi's Disordo swings, its pointed tip fixed on Norase. The dark serpent winding itself in a coil curves its body like a whip. Its jaws dash at Norase. Not once had Norase ever seen such a phenomenon from a Disordo. He cannot discern whether it has the hidden power of all Kigla Manyakusu or merely Takumi's delusion. The dark fangs erode Norase's body and he begins to collapse. All too slowly, like a frog slowly dissolving in the belly of the snake. Darkness swallows him. He feels no pain. By nature, his death should be instant. But that is not what Takumi wishes for. Realizing this, notices this twist into a derisive smile. Norase had no fear of death. One could say the ideals he pursued were accomplished with the completion of Nowa 2.
私を殺してもノア2には誰も近づけない永久期間なんですよ。それは人類を未来永劫にわたって管理し続ける。ただ座して眺めているだけではない人の幸福のために干渉してくる人工の神なのです。
Norase is God's inventor, so to speak. As long as Nowa 2 continues to exist, mankind will not perish, and the eternal utopia Norase seeks will become real. However,
あんたに近づけるんでしょ。
the serpent's body wriggles and writhes with Norase in his grasp, lifting his body into the
それ
air.
ならあんたは鍵だ。
Norase is astonished, but soon enough his face changes to an expression of pure agony. The serpent swings about his body with ease. Takumi shoots a glance at Rimi. Their eyes met. Just what is Rimi feeling as she watches him? Reading her mind would be effortless, yet Takumi does nothing of the sort. It seems I was able to save you after all. He quickly averts his eyes. His gaze then shifts to the still humming Nowa 2, the throne of God where none may stand foot. A cradle which shows naught but the flames of bliss.
ごめん。
He apologized to no one in particular.
僕は人類にとっての敵かもね。
The eternal utopia this device would bring, a future without conflict, Takumi will extinguish them with his own two hands. Is that right or is it wrong? Takumi cannot give the answer to that.
でも神話でもよくあるでしょ。神だって女絡みでうだうだやってる。だから僕も。
Will sacrifice the happiness of mankind out of love for a woman. For a girl. Takumi. Ben Takumi. Disordo in hand, bends his arms in the giant arc.
破れ
He thrusts it forth, just like a javelin. The colossal serpent of darkness charges straight for ahead. The bait known as Narase impaled by its tip, it flies straight toward Nowa 2. an enormous serpent of empty particles capable of terminating any known object. It has no will of its own, thus it is not something that can be warped nor distorted. With a greedy impulse to destroy, using Norris as the key, the delusional barrier is easily smashed to pieces. You know what? I still don't get how in Senna's route they were able to destroy the fucking Noah too, man. Considering everything that they mentioned. Here we are. There was just a huge explosion, and its blast blew my body away like it was nothing more than a rag doll. Next thing I knew, I found myself lying here. Those eyes are always watching me. The stare pierces through the thick, pitch black rain clouds and pours down on me like rain. Don't look at me. My body won't stop shivering, not from the chill of the rain, but rather the ice-cold rubble pressing against my back, so terribly cold. A gaze pierces me from the heavens. Who it belongs to, I cannot say. As if to escape it, I raise my head to look at the environment around me. There I see a ruined city. There I see despair. There I see death. There I see nothingness. Not a single soul is there. Nor a soul is moving. Not a soul is left alive. The only thing I can hear is the sound of the rain continuing to pour. At this rate, everything, both the living and the dead, will it be gently embraced or washed away? How nice it would be if all of this was just a delusion, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I can't move my body. I can only move my eyes and neck, and even then just barely. I can't use that monstrous power from before. My body is shivering, but that's nothing more than a physiological phenomenon. It isn't happening by my own will. I don't want my body to tremble. If I can't move it freely, then it isn't my body. Or maybe I never had free will ever since I was born. Nobody knows exactly where the soul resides. Bearing that in mind, how can anyone say that there is a soul inside this body of mine? But then where exactly am I now? Am I really here? Am I anywhere at all? In the shattered world where it all stands still, where all that can be heard is the rain of death, suddenly another sound echoes through it. A single solitary existence begins to emerge from the sea of nothingness. Who are you? Is your skin so pale because it's been numbed by the chill of the rain? Or is it because you're already dead? And yet the girl isn't shivering, and those eyes of hers nearly hidden by her bangs. Don't look at me. They look so terribly sad. They look as if they hold a hint of madness. They look as if they reflect nothing. If she and I were the only ones left in the world, if we stared into each other's eyes like this for all eternity, would my world be reduced to the reflection in her eyes? Would her world be reduced to the reflection in my eyes? The only thing reflected in her eyes is me. The only thing reflected in my eyes is her. When I think of it that way, the world immediately seems so much smaller. Suddenly, a flash of static reaches my ears, one endlessly beautiful yet deeply discordant. She lowers her head and spreads her arms wide, almost as if preparing to take off to soar high above the rain clouds, or as if trying to catch all the falling
あ
rain.
なたを見つめる妄想
From where I am on the ground, I cannot see the expression that of the lowered head of hers. Behind this thin veil of rain, just what kind of face are you making? An angel? Are those dancing feathers of light blessing me, or? Ah, I see. I finally understand. She's going to use that to kill me. The girl slowly kneels to the ground right before my collapsed body. With her head still lowered, she gently takes my own in her hands. I surrender my body to her grasp. I'm just relieved she isn't looking at me.
殺さなくちゃ。
In my ear, I hear a whisper, garbled by static. It's as beautiful as it's discordant.
ごめんね。
There's nothing to apologize for. If I don't disappear, the other me, the real me, will die. So that's why I'm okay with this. In fact, I'm really glad I get to be erased by you. It's not a bad end for a monster like me. I don't have any regrets. A warm, soft, gentle, sweet sensation. As miraculously or like an aesthetic. Shivering in my body slowly begins to die down. Her soft breath tickles my cheeks. It smells so sweet. Suddenly, I sense something pressing against my chest. A large sword she holds tears through my skin, bores into my flesh, weaves through my bones, slowly sinks through the center of my body. But gifted with the anesthesia of her kiss, I no longer feel any pain. I would never have imagined I'd get such a kind death. Just the thought of it breaks my heart, leaving me on the verge of tears. Trying to hide them, I look past the girl's head up toward the ashen sky where the rain continues to pour. Her lips pull away from me. Her sad whispers trickle into my ears.
やっぱりタクを殺せないよ。
I feel no pain. Her sword isn't rebooted. My body isn't injured in the slightest.
でも消してくれなきゃ本物の僕が
Will die. He will die. That's why I should die instead. That way he can stay alive for just a little bit longer. I'm sure that's what you want too.
消して消すんだ僕を。
できない。
Rumi lightly shakes her head. Those eyes of hers waver as they stare at me.
好きなの。
We're never gonna make it, guys.
あなたの弱さが好き。弱いくせに臆病なくせにボロボロになって私なんかを助けに来てくれたその強さが好きなの。あなたと同じ時間をもっと過ごしたいの。あなたを失いたくない。あなたに生きていてほしい。
You'll look at me?
僕は化け物なんだ。
私だって同じだよ。
Is it okay for me to keep on living?
君がそれを選んだなら生きていていいんだ。
I hear a voice from the sky, and with that I understand. Because our minds are directly connected, I perceive a certain feeling that right now, at this very moment, his light just vanished.
君が死んだんだね。
In that moment, Remy quickly sensed the emotions my face conveyed. Hesitating for a moment, I gave her a faint nod. Don't cry. I don't want you to cry. Feeling returns to my entire body. Warmth returns to my body as well. Even though my movements are still clumsy, even though I'm still trembling, with a hand I can move, I take out a vermilion handkerchief. Rumi's face is covered in tears, the droplets that are so beautiful, so clear. I softly wipe them away with all the memories you've given me.
僕も君は好きです。
Remy tightly clasps my hand, as if she wishes to cling to it forever, as if to confirm that we exist right here. The warmth within us is contagious. Both my and your temperatures melt together. The two of us look up at the sky. Without a doubt, it's covered by clouds. But
光は電磁波の波。その振動現象を人の視覚は色として捉える。
タク、その言葉。
words that only he and Remy should know. Words that he used to give Remy hope. And yet I know them, because I've seen his memories. He and I are one in body and soul. My memories and his are shared between us. His memories of the 70 years he lived were all passed down to me. And he vicariously experienced my own year and a half of life.
自分のデッドスポットに望む色を当てはめれば、僕たちのあの空の色は取り戻せる。
We know that color because in that imagined world of only sky, sea and sky, it's the color we gazed up at and burned into our memories. Suddenly, the rain stops. In an instant, the clouds vanish. It's clearing up. Coming back. Something that, no matter where you look, always seems to draw you in, gently blankets the world. The blue sky above.
残像ちらつきいびつな現実映す妄想真実境に消えた世界 Refuse to fight 見ないふり Reject the world 一人 一面と消えた世界 Refuse to lose 怖くても Realize 強く散りゆく赤い花つかむ幻揺らぐ未来の中で譲らない決意希望を手放さない I will 君の願いを全部叶えてあげるあの空に届くよ光越える揺らぐ世界の中に揺るぎない意志を明日を曇らさない I will 僕の願いが一つ叶うのならばあの空をあげるよ闇切り裂く想い
You know, it's kind of funny the last shot was Seiratan because Love Choo Choo is actually canon. I know there isn't like an English release yet, and the community of Zero is working on the port, so we're gonna wait for that. Hopefully it releases this year. So yeah, that is the true ending of that's the true ending. Yeah, that's the true ending. I'm done. I mean, I actually don't care about getting 100% whatever, but achievements, but I'm like story-wise, I'm done. I really like Chaos Ed, man. I mean, it's not as strong as Steins Gate, but there is a certain charm that I like. I know. I like the sidecast here better. I like the sidecast better. Or maybe it's because it's a recency bias thing. I don't know. I don't know, man. All I can say is I did enjoy going through Chaos Head, so I'm really looking forward for like Lo Choo Choo and yeah, so we'll actually go through the other side Advid titles, but before that, there will be another visual novel in between. I will be playing that. It's a romance one. Its translation is kind of I think it has a 100% translation completed, but it's like QA is kind of like whatever. So there's going to be a lot of typos when we go through it. Considering it's a full blown eroge, I will be uploading videos instead of like doing it live because have no 100%. I have no idea when age scenes show up, so I have to cut those. Obviously, kind of. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a commentary run. I think I'm gonna do it in a commentary run, unlike what I did with like uh Himawari no Kyokai Nagai no Natsuyasumi, which is my background and my webcam. There's also like Sakura no Ta and Sakura no Togi. I'll go back to them later this year, or I mean mid this year. I want to finish the Sayavit stuff. I mean, there's a lot of Sayavit stuff I had to go through. Like robotics had robotics note. Robotics note. There's also Chaos Child. There's anonymous code. I don't know what anonymous code is about. I need to check up on stuff, but there's a lot of things I need to catch up. But in between, before I start the next Advid title, I will have to go through the visual novel that I wanted to start. It's a romance one, so I'm also thinking about restarting my playthrough White Album 2. Setsuna's birthday comes in February 14th. Obviously Valentine's, but I'm like, well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I really love White Album 2. It's the best romance novel I ever read ever. So I'll eventually get back to it when I feel like it. But yeah, so that's Blue Sky. The prelude, The Illusion of Zero, had been unlocked. Well, congratulations. Why the fuck does Saratan have hard nipples? Fucking hell. At least I'm completely done. Is it worth checking out the prelude stuff? Oh, nice. Yeah. What is prelude anyway? It's important. Let me check it out. Delusion of Zero, a Chaos Head prelude. Before I pass on, allow me to recount my memories leading to this moment. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world. Those are the words of Albert Einstein. When his delusion, E equals MC squared, embraced the world, how had the man felt? Yes, what you surmise is true. The famous gifted physicist was in fact a gigalomaniac. Okay, man. Does that mean Oppenheimer was also a gigalomaniac? It would have made sense. Alright. A rarely exceptional one. At that, my powers undoubtedly pale in comparison to his. Yet despite me saying so, I unknowingly brought a similar delusion into existence. To deny that reality would be a fool's errand, for my delusion has already spread far across the world. Fun raised to 10 times int raised to 40 equals IR2. I actually have no idea what the fuck. I believe I was in the fourth grade when I materialized that formula. It was also around the time when my body first began to suffer various abnormalities. Ever since around its very birth, the delusion slowly eroded my body. In the mere 6 months, I was no longer able to walk unassisted. I think this is a byproduct of him making delusions true without a disorder. which is much more eroding compared to, you know. At the time, I was not aware of my status as a gigalomaniac. I somehow managed to continue attending classes, but I proved unable to participate in the upcoming field trip due to my worsening condition. And so, despite my intense anticipation for the event, my parents forbade me from attending, which burdened in me a fierce resentment toward them at a time. From that moment onward, my delusions continued to engorge. Delusions synonymous with nothing but pure envy. These very delusions would go on to injure my classmates, who had gone on to the field trip without me, and killing the chaperone and teacher. Only then did I come to realize that I harbored a terrifying power. I was admitted to the hospital soon after. More time would pass, and eventually all doctors present gave up diagnosing my condition. All the doctors save for one. Norase Kenichi. Although I was fairly young when I first encountered him, it only took a glance to understand the man's true, sinister nature. The two of us were alike after all, two souls far removed from common sense. Naturally, because of this fact, his proposed treatment for my condition was denied, and he was dismissed from my case. I was fortunate in that his successor turned out to be Dr. Takeshina. Before Norase departed, however, I took the time to peer into his mind and learn of both Project Noah and Nozomi technology. The very hospital I had been admitted to also served as the lair of my enemy. If nothing was done, my delusion would be utilized by Project Noah, and great consequences would befall the world. When I realized this, I immediately attempted escape, but that was when I grasped a terrifying truth. Only as a result of my treatment had I come to reach a form of stability. In other words, my body had already deteriorated to a point where I could no longer survive outside of the hospital. I was intensely aware of the fact that my enemies were always near. I kept them in bay with delusions, but my body grew weaker with each person I stayed. A vicious cycle that only served to further extend my stay at the hospital. If this were to continue, my capture by Norase would be inevitable. With no other options left to me, I was forced to erase every trace of my existence. I had ceased attending classes sometime prior to that point, so upon my classmates' graduation from elementary school, I executed my plan. Our treatment of Nishijo Takumi had proven successful, and he had thus been discharged from the hospital. That is the fiction I created, one I implanted into the minds of my parents as well as the entirety of the hospital staff. Any person who had any possibility of coming into contact with Norase was put under this impression. Then, using my delusions, I isolated myself in the hospital room separated from the rest of the building. But I was not able to alter everyone's memories. My younger sister, my Iboto Nanami, proved to be an exception. Only she was able to enter the room with no semblance of difficulty. She did not even seem to recognize the room as a separate from the hospital. Of course, whenever she took it upon herself to visit the hospital, I crafted the delusion, allowing her to remain unseen by anyone present. Nanami, while quite childish, showed nothing but concern for me during my time in the hospital. Even on my darkest days, she put forth her best effort to care for me. Those moments showed me how strong she truly was, and I found myself unable to steal her memories away from her. Nanami, however, was not the only exception. Nanami is also the best Imoto and best girl. Second best girl. Rimi is always the best girl. This was the time I came to know a girl named Sakihata Rimi. Rimi had been confined to the hospital basement for nearly a year. Every day she would face brutal and ceaseless torture at the hands of Norase. But no matter how hard I tried to call out to her, my voice would never reach her. It was only upon an eventual awakening as a gigalomaniac that I finally managed to synchronize with her delusion. In that moment, I entered the world inside of her mind, her image world. Whether that was truly for the best, I have yet to determine. The delusions she carries within her are endlessly powerful, yet they are also her reality. Unable to face it, she had killed her own heart and mind numerous times before I met her, destroying all remnants of her past selves. The formula born from my delusions that brought this girl's endless suffering. For all these reasons, I saved her. My delusionary powers allow me to travel anywhere. In reality, my body is still incapable of walking, but I am able to create a door that leads to any destination. Producing this delusion requires a great deal of strength, however, forcing me to only use it sparingly. And yet, despite this fierce tax on my body, I would not hesitate to give my life if it meant stopping Project Noah, a project I had effectively founded when I allowed my delusion to spread across the world. And so upon isolating myself, I began to pour every ounce of strength into halting the advancement of Project Noah. However, the skill of my enemies possessed matched my own, rendering my efforts useless. They had established a defensive strategy, and with it, the search for me had begun. If I were to make even one mistake, I would be discovered in an instant and captured. The manhunt would only serve to increase the danger Nanami was in, as the two of us were family. I had no desire to involve anyone in this fight, so I hid myself away from the world. In the end, I was naive. 3 years went by entirely wasted. During that time, I conjured multiple delusions, but each one served to weaken me further. If this were to continue, there would be no way of stopping Project Noah. For this reason, I decided to give birth to you. To achieve this end, I had to sever every link I had left to society. My final remaining connection to the outside world, to my normal life, was Nanabe. Because of this, I was forced to erase all memories she had of me. I know that my action caused her a great deal of pain. In our last moments together, it was clear how deeply hurt she was. Even so, I knew the pain was sure to leave her momentarily. As soon as she forgot about me, she would be able to return to her normal life. Wishing only for her happiness, I liberated her from the burden knowing as myself. It was with Rimi that I miscalculated. Naturally, I tried to erase her memories as well. I wanted her to forget about her awakening as a Gigglomaniac, about her sickly torture at the hands of Norase, that she had ever met me. I wanted to give her a normal life. However, Rimi is an exceptionally skilled Gigglomaniac. No matter how many times I tried to override her memories, my delusions were deflected without fail. It was clear she was very experienced in locking away her heart, all while wearing the brightest of smiles on her face. My attempts at having borne no fruit. I abandoned all hope of altering her memories and thus redirected my efforts. Creating a human from nothing proved difficult, even with the power of delusions. I've come to know that the human soul is incredibly delicate, that it is as elaborate as it is precise. In order to create you, I focused completely on the personality that delusions would form. For an entire month's time, you were all I thought about. In a way, it was quite similar to falling in love, though I myself had never known the feeling. What did he mean by this, bro? If you were to come to know this, I am sure you would feel repulse. Essentially, you are me. My memories, my abilities, finally my name, I have entrusted them to you. Oh, I realize I'm blocking some text. The moment you are born, I will no longer be the boy known as Nishijo Takumi. From the moment on, I shall take on the moniker Shogun. Why Shogun, you may ask? Well, I quite like Togo Shogun. That is all there is to it. With that being said, once you are born, your role will no doubt be a very painful one. First and foremost, you must awaken as a Gigglomaniac. To meet this end, you had to endure an extreme mental load, a great unforgiving strain on your psyche. Once you awaken and grasp your disorder, the battle against Nozomi technology will begin. The battle to stop Project Noah. That is my ultimate goal, and by extension is yours. But I would remiss if I did not say this. My reason for creating you was incredibly selfish, but I had no other choice. I cannot do this on my own. I hope you find yourself to forgive me. When the curtain finally falls, you will be free. Once you are granted this freedom, please grant me this in turn. I will ask you that you turn a blind eye to my selfish desires, including forcing these memories onto you. And I ask that you be a good older brother to Nanami. Please. If I had the ability, I would have done this all myself. I would have done it while dreaming of the peace I would see once it all came to a close. It is a pleasure to meet you, Nishijo Takumi. Yet this is also goodbye, Nishijo Takumi. Welcome to the world. Harsh battles await you as do infinite possibilities. As long as blue sky above exists, that fact can never be denied. You are me, and at the same time, you are also you. A hospital room none would visit, dyed orange by the setting sun. Clutching her knees silently in one of its corners, Sakihata Rimi noticed something strange occurring in Nishijo Takumi's bed. His breathing had quickened, his chest, reduced to mere skin and bones, rose and fell rapidly with each breath. With a little gasp, Rimi watched as innumerable torn veins slowly radiated from the bed's center. A delicate construction that appeared both metallic and organic. with a beauty that rivaled even the most breathtaking of sights. Veins of such description colored the room. They crept and crawled over the walls and floor, overtaking every inch of closed space that two resided in. Like the veins of a leaf, shards of translucent glass emerged from the surface of the veins, each pulsating with flickering red light. Together, it was reminiscent of an 8-headed serpent, each branch possessing its own will. Nishijo Takumi's Disordo. Rimi had seen it only once before, but at this time it had been confined to one of his weak and frail hands, wrapped around it as tight as it could be. So he does have a Disordo. Oh, that's interesting. Nishijo Takumi remained motionless on the bed, and in spite of Rumi's attempts to inhibit him, she realized he had been successful in creating another self. As she gazed upon him, memories resurfaced of the time she asked him if he intended to die as a result of his actions. To this, he merely nodded. Soon, the pulsating glow of the disorder covering the walls began to dim, and before long, the vines began to dry and crack. That's a very interesting D-sword. As they crumpled away around her, Rimi slowly rose to her feet. Taking care not to run into any thorns, she cautiously made her way over to the bed. Standing by his side, she lifted his hand and gently caressed Shogun's desiccated cheek. Still, he continued to breathe. Would he ever regain consciousness someday? At that moment in time, somewhere in Shibuya, another Nishijo Takumi had been born. Would she ever come to meet him someday? Until that day came, she would continue to wait here. For she had no family, for she had nowhere else to go. She had no home to return to, no one waiting for her. Gazing out the window, Rimi looked to the many skyscrapers of Shibuya, each dyed a deep orange by the twilight, as a single trickle of tears led down her cheek. All of this came a mere 18 months before the Shibuya collapse. Alright, looks like that is all content that we can get right now. I mean, I don't want to go through the trouble of doing 100% and go through all the neutral and negative delusions, but let's see, 91 hours, 95, 94. I mean, yeah, I'm guessing this is coming from the negative delusions. So didn't bother with the negative delusions. And I always tried to get her I always tried to get Hazuki with glasses, so I never seen her without them. So, you know. Anyway, that's it for Chaos Head Noah. We will come back again to Chaos Head Noah once Love Choo Choo shows up. But in the meantime, we will start another visual novel. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know, or Monday. I don't know. We'll see. I'll just upload. I'll just upload the first video, and then after that visual novel, we will start. We will continue the Saiyavid adventure. Okay, that's kind of Saiyavid adventure. That's twice. Anyway, we will work on. We will read Robotics Note after this one. Then after that, we will go for Noah. I mean Chaos Child. Then Dash, I guess. We'll do things in release order, except for Steins Gate, because I already read both Steins Gate and Steins Gate 0. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy watching, and I'll see you guys on the next visual novel I read. Yeah, hopefully the next is a visual novel and not, you know, sometimes I get tempted to play Chivalry 2 again. And, you know, there's going to be a reset for, like, Starship Troopers, so that might resurrect. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'll see you guys on the next stream. Ciao. And I hope you enjoy.